What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause a lot of volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that said, let's get right to it. Starting off with data points for this upcoming week. Beginning part is going to be primarily linked to technicals as well as a lot of Fed speakers. So those Fed speakers, depending on what is said, is going to be once again correlated with interest rate cuts, ideally. And then aside from that, true data points. Thursday you have GDP, and then Friday you have PCE. Once again, those data points as well are going to be instantly correlated with interest rate cuts. And so far during the September 18th meeting, there is a 59.5% likelihood of a interest rate of a 25 basis point cut, and then a 6.4% likelihood of a 50 basis point cut. And no doubtably, that's going to be the next big catalyst for the EV market, and through that Lucid, because EVs and just growth stocks and just the market in general is very sensitive to interest rate cuts. So I think this is again going to be the next big catalyst. Aside from that though, the fear and greed index is at 41. So people's appetite for risk isn't necessarily there as what it once was. So just watch for a lot of the data points to kind of swing this either in the lower end or possibly push it to the neutral category. Aside from that, Lucid isn't participating in any actual conferences of any sort this week, and even under their website, there isn't anything planned for events. So it looks like this concluded on the 16th. This was the 2nd, 9th, and 14th. So you're not seeing this nice last minute push for the end of the quarter. And typically what they've done is they've always done some sort of promotion leading into the last couple weeks of the promotion just to kind of get some last minute sales. Lucid didn't do that this time around, so I don't know if that's a good indication that maybe they didn't need to do that maybe their sales were already satisfactory. Something again to consider. But yeah, it'd be really nice if they did some additional conferences or events, because even Rivian does have their investor day. I believe that's coming up this week, either Thursday or something like that. Lucid doesn't have anything of sorts, no investor recognition or whatever. They do a lot of those meetups, and they seem to really post that quite a lot in their social media, is those meetups. And yeah, it's good if you are part of their club and you own a Lucid Air, but let's say you don't live in California, for instance, or you don't own an Air, like you still should be recognized, similar to what happens with Rivian. And even I believe Tesla does that as well. So Lucid should really jump on that bandwagon. I think just Lucid's marketing sucks in general, but it's always been like that for a very long time. But like I did mention, with this upcoming week being the last week in Q2, you're going to see a lot of institutions buying Lucid, because these are all the ETFs and institutions that hold Lucid. So you have PIF, Vanguard, BlackRock, and many others, a lot of them that do have fixed percentages of Lucid. So for instance, let's say Vanguard in some of their ETFs, they have a fixed 2% amount associated to Lucid, just throwing that number out there. And obviously in relation to the broader market, Lucid's gone down. So even over this last 1 month, Lucid is down 12.15%, S&P is up 2.69%. So that does mean a lot of those institutions will need to buy Lucid to get it back to those kind of rightful positions of 2%, or well, obviously what you guys get what I'm saying, right? So there will be a good amount of buying coming from institutions. Even on Friday after hours, you did see a lot of transactions occurring. This was more linked to the quadruple witching day and just the option. So 2.18 million. There was 1.07, 13 million. So this whole week, probably more so on the Friday and Thursday, you'll see a lot of this of nature. So a lot of institutions looking at Lucid. But with Lucid right now around that $2.50 range, I have actually stated this numerous times. Even on Friday, I did a full dedicated video on how Lucid is going to close at $2.49. Lo and behold, this is exactly where it did close at, because there is a certain level of manipulation that is happening. So if Lucid for this week does continue to kind of flirt with that $2.50 range, then you are going to see shorts being very, very active. As of right now though, it looks like 28.8% of the free float's being shorted, utilization 97.45, 255.03 million shares overall are being shorted, and then cost to borrow average is 26.85%. So like I said, just watch for shorts to be very active, correlated with obviously those 2 data points, Thursday and Friday, and if Lucid does continue to kind of flirt with that $2.50 range. Because right now, looking at the open interest for this upcoming week, for June the 28th expiry, you have 4,000 in open interest at that $2.50 strike price, and then 4,000 at that 3. So it's clearly not as big as the June 21st expiry, because that was kind of massive, the open interest, but nonetheless, you could still see a level of manipulation occurring. So kind of just stay tuned for that. But when it comes down to the Elliott Wave technicals, I'll pop over to 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗧, give you a quick overview of that. So right now it does have a pivot point of $2.75. So for as long as Lucid is below that, then it is anticipated to kind of hit that low 2s or high 1s, and this has been kind of the writing on the wall for a while now, so just stay tuned for that. As of late, there hasn't been any recent analyst ratings, so I don't really anticipate anything or any new ratings up until Lucid puts out their Q2 numbers or their earnings. So it is going to be rather quiet from them. And even aside from that, analysts kind of stopped really paying attention to Lucid. Like a year ago, there was like 2 times the amount of analysts looking at Lucid. Right now, it just, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the articles are just coming out linking Lucid and Fisker more and more, just that Lucid is heading towards bankruptcy. So I think even just articles, everyone isn't really happy with how Lucid has been performing. But nonetheless, right now with it at $2.49, it is trading between this S2 and this S1. So $2.36 is going to be the next strong support. And this is where clearly the Elliott Wave technicals are projecting for it to kind of break below, because if it does break below that, then this is where it's going to hit that low 2s. But $2.56 is going to be that next strong resistance / target. Kind of bounced off of that general area on Friday, but on the actual chart itself, this is where it is lower percentile of the Bollinger Band, and even stochastic, you do see a bearish deviation despite it being excessively oversold. So something to kind of keep in mind. A number of retail investors have been getting out for a very long time now, and it is below 0, so that does mean that true retail investors are getting out, or just not necessarily retail, but just the number of investors are getting out of Lucid. And I think that's just been the kind of the writing on the wall for a very long time. People get very excited about when Lucid starts to pick up a little bit, but Lucid is kind of very well known for not holding any gains and not really getting above that 50-day moving average. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. In my opinion, I think given the circumstances, Lucid will be somewhere between this range for this week, between this S2 and this S1, unless there is really, really bad data coming out, or let's say the Feds somehow are dumb and they start to talk on interest rate hikes. Then yeah, you are going to see a pullback and possibly between this range for this week. So let me know your thoughts. Are you a buyer this week? Are you a seller? What are you doing with Lucid? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. But one final thing I just wanted to share with you, take advantage of this promo for $100 at a new account and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So just, this is one of the best deals in the market. It's free stuff. You might as well take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.